Okay, it's been about 6 months since I've owned this guitar. I get a lot of questions about it or a lot of comments about it, and I think it's time for me to finally give you an update. 6 months after owning this thing. Let's get it. For those of you who are not aware, this guitar was made for me. It took up the better half of almost an entire year for it to get made. It's been a true pleasure to own this thing, but there are definitely a few things that I think I would have done a little bit different had I been given the opportunity, or at least saw what the finished product would look like. If you want to see the original video of me introducing this guitar to the world, I'll link it right up here. And check it out. I give you some of the specs and play through it a little bit. We'll do some of that today as well, but I just wanted to give you a few of my sort of updates and how this thing has been treating me for the last 6 months. It's actually been like 7 months now, but who's counting? So from a spec perspective, as I mentioned before, this guitar was supposed to be a replacement for my beloved Nash T52 that I no longer own, so it's essentially the same thing. We've got a maple neck, a vintage C profile, 25.5 scale length, a 7¼ radius, and 21 jumbo frets, which is actually slightly different from any other guitar that I've owned. It is an older body, painted Aztec gold with a very special pick guard that I took a long time to find. And of course, a Bigsby. This is a B50, not a B5. I went with the same exact pickups that Nash uses in their Nash T52. So they're Lawler pickups, vintage T in the neck, and a special in the bridge. I also went with their wired kit here. So this is the Lawler kit with the orange drop in it. And it definitely sounds massive. It's even warmer than some of my humbucker stuff. Like there's like a little more body to it, which is very, very rare in a Telecaster. It's heavy. It's got a baseball bat of a neck, and it just sounds massive, and I really love it. But it still has that mid-range focus that we all look for in Telecasters. So first, let's talk about some of the pros. No matter what, I love the consistency of this guitar. It feels like I know exactly what I'm going to get every single time I pick it up. It's not going to be a question. Is it going to be in tune? Yes. Is it going to play well? Yes. Is it going to sound good pretty much using any product I put in front of it? Yes. And I think it does. And that's probably why I always like doing reviews after a long period of time, because you just don't know how a guitar is going to ultimately settle after keeping it in its environment for a long time, and how will it adjust. And in my case, this guitar adjusted beautifully. Most of all, I love its sound. I love that it has body to it. I love that the singular notes sound thick while still maintaining that telly twang. I think that it's a very unique instrument in that respect, and I really would have to say, even though you can't play it because it belongs to me and there's only one of these things, you kind of have to play it to really understand what I'm talking about here. It's a beauty, and I really, really love it. So what would I do different now after owning the instrument for 6 months? To be honest with you, because the guitar settled in so nicely, I don't have any complaints about the way it feels, and certainly not about the way it sounds. I think it's been a great instrument to own and have. The only thing I have complaints about is the appearance of it. After getting a ton of comments on social media platforms and even here on YouTube saying great Prince tribute guitar, I had to look up what the heck they were talking about, because I didn't even realize that Prince had this famous tele that he would use. I didn't really know him for using a Telecaster. Maybe I just wasn't a big enough fan. And after seeing his guitar, I realized, oh my gosh, I totally get it, and it looks very much like that. And now I can't unsee it. Now I don't want it to look like Prince's guitar. I want it to look like a little something different. So I think that in the long run, I probably would have just painted it black and then had it sanded so it could be relic and not be super glossy. The other thing that I noticed was the relicing on the fretboard itself. I was looking through photographs of my Nash T52, and I had these pictures of the relicing that was on the neck, and it was so perfect, so nicely done, whereas this one doesn't quite hit that mark. It's in the family of that relic, but it didn't nail it. And I kind of wish that it was more like the Nash T52. And I said this before in my first video, and I'll say it again. I think that I should have just purchased another Nash guitar versus going for a custom build that ultimately was trying to resemble that guitar and replace it. But it wouldn't have my name on it. Now would it? So ultimately, there are always going to be pros and cons. There's no perfect instrument out there. However, I will say this one comes very, very close, and I've been very partial to it as the time has gone on. As I continue to play and really dig into this thing week after week after week, it just turned into a really, really amazing guitar. And I don't know, I think that there's something to be said about that, needing to put some time in to really develop an instrument versus expecting it to be the guitar of your dreams right out of the box. My name is Jay Cruz, and thanks so much for watching another video. Do me a favor, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Hit the bell notification icon so you get alerts every single time I upload a video. Leave a comment below. I love interacting with you as much as I possibly can, and definitely helps the algorithm so that more people can find my videos and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching, and until next week.